Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sound check, sound check. Do you hear me good? Loud and clear? Hey, sound is good. Great, thank you. Alright, is the music too loud, guys, or is it proper background volume? All clear. Great. What music? You don't hear any music? Is it only me? Am I not playing any music in the background? I hear a little mortal music. Tequila, thank you for the subscription. Music good. Okay, so you hear it. Alright, you're good. No music. I don't hear music. There is music. Okay. It should be low music in the background. I can hear it. It's low. Alright. Yeah. It should be low so you can hear me loud and clear when I'm talking. Dirty Duck, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate it. Very nice of you. Indeed, we have exciting little update today. We have the roadmap finally presentable. I mentioned it before, it's been quite a puzzle to plan our specific steps. But finally things are falling into place. So that is feels great to have a proper solution in the whole schedule moving towards to the big date. John, old man, good day, and thank you very much for the prime, and welcome to tonight's stream. Need roadmap, indeed. So that will be the topic briefly here in a moment, and we can go through that. Now you've been waiting for it, as it gives a good indication of specific features in what order. Profo, welcome. Roadmap, let's go. Thank you very much for the subscription. Pretty good game for one-man dev team though. From a Joyce Victor God is, but we're not the one-time dev team. That then the game would look very different. But indeed, Sebastian is obviously the lead coder and a very talented coder. Gregan, thank you for a subscription. We are about 40 developers, and a handful is the core team from many years back. For now, yes. So we've been slowly growing since a while back. It's not an easy task to find the right developers for this type of project. Mathematizer, thank you very much for Prime. You're killing the hype train, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. How's the weather over here? It was raining heavily a moment ago, but now it's still. So no rain now. But it's dark and a little bit cold. We're getting into the darkness. We are moving fast forward to winter, and I like the winter dark periods when just diving into work. It feels better rather than when it's summertime. It's also convenient. You don't have to overload it or it gets too hot. So it's nice. You can regulate the temperature easier, obviously, during winter. don't know what kind of project it is. You're looking for the right dudes for almost 2 years. No, as you've seen, we have been growing to 40 people, right? We started out with, around 6-7 people, and now we're 40. So obviously we are growing. But like I said, the whole gaming industry is really, going for specific developers. So it's difficult. And being a small independent, then obviously that can add additional pressure. Stonefather, thank you very much for the gift. If you're so many devs, why are there only 2 on Discord? So, obviously, as many of you already know since, the beginning, it may not be the most appreciated task to be a public person when doing a project you're very passionate about, because there will always be different opinions, right? It's internet. And, I don't want to force the developers to be public, taking part of the communication and all that. So that's why you don't see too many devs being active on Discord or on stream, for that matters. Sebastian has been joining me the 2 latest streams and jumping in, and you got the opportunity to ask some questions for him as well. But yeah, it's it's a specific thing to sit there and communicate with the public. So it's not everyone that want to do that either. And of course, it's also maybe sensitive topics, questions that are very difficult to respond to, and obviously the developers don't want to step into those tricky situations also. Where can I find job offers related to Mortal? So if you go to starvault.se, our company website, there is a job section where we'll list what we're looking for. Xfast, thank you very much for the subscription. Listen to negative Nancy God here, Henrik. This is the best game out. Yeah, no, of course we knew that we were stepping into a very challenging project, no doubt about that, and it will always be a challenge, no matter what we create and develop and moving forward with. So it's a challenging project, but also very exciting, I think, and very unique. And along with that, there are always going to be haters, odd behaviors, all kind of things, right? The good and the bad. Yo, Henrik, how are you? Bane Spike TV. I'm very good, thank you. I'm pretty much recovered since my cold last stream. Passion Wood, thank you for a subscription. You're really killing it today, guys. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm pretty much restored. Have a little coughing annoyances in my throat still, but I feel pretty good. So I'm good. Somebody say thank you for the Piers with the gifts. Thank you very much. 5 gifts. Thank you very much, guys. You're spoiling us today. I appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you to support us this much, and just again helping us move forward, giving us energy and fuel to I hate everything with, but that's not healthy. You live longer if you're happy and think happy thoughts. But yeah, sometimes it's we can't all be happy all the time. Another one, eh? Black Widow perk with the bits. It's Snowy with the Prime. Thank you very much. Roadmap. Yeah, seems good. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Oh my god, another one. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the awesome game. The only MMO that has captivated me in so many years. As Azusa the Tamer. Azusa the Tamer. Thank you very much. We appreciate that you do enjoy our game. That's what it's all about. Obviously, we're not making a game that only we can play. We were hoping that we will see many players out there that are having the same vision and the ambition to find a game that actually puts some demand on a player and offer a real unique gaming experience. So we're very happy to see that we are not alone. Note leads with the Prime. Thank you very much. Don't think about new content, just stay focused on the back end. Yeah, so it's no with the subscription. Thank you very much. So yeah, like we mentioned before, so reaching a number of about 40 developers, everyone is involved in different areas and tasks, and not everyone can just focus on one thing or fix one thing. So obviously we need to make sure that the whole team is working. And as soon as we have specific features that support something, we want to make sure we have proper content to support those features as well. So we have a good growing game every patch moving forward. And then of course, polishing have been the main focus for quite a few months now. So that's not slowing down. We are making our best to make sure the game is as smooth as possible. Belson with the subscription. Thank you very much. You are on fire today. Thanks for your freaking game. Pierce, thank you for being here. Can't wait for pandas in the game. What kind of pandas, eh? We're talking about World of Warcraft pandas or mortal pandas? Yeah, we are investigating there are cases when players get out of sync on the servers. We've done huge refactoring, optimization, cleaning up, fixing, polishing on the back end, getting prepared for large scale. And right now we support incredible large scales with any server issues whatsoever. But yes, we are looking into those cases where people get out of sync. We're also sharpening up the connection stability in terms of the checks that are being done when you're connected to our game servers. We've noticed there are quite a few players that use very unreliable Wi-Fi connections that are ruining the gaming experience for themselves and also those around them. So we are adding connection checks to that also to make sure that doesn't interfere. Robace with the bits. You're the best, Henrik. Not give up, and please need more melee abilities. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Thank you very much. Jakem TV with the Prime for a month. Thank you very much. Oh yeah. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So yeah, like I mentioned, our best tips to anyone playing online: make sure you don't use a crappy Wi-Fi connection. It's not stable. Usually not stable enough to get a smooth gaming experience. So plug the cable in if that's a possibility. We have got a few of those cases, and it will be more strict with one of our upcoming patches that actually make sure that connection is more stable, or you may be even dropped from the client or the servers. And that is to protect the game integrity. So keep that in mind if you are using a Wi-Fi connection. Henrik, ever since you joined Gherkin Guild, our fishing numbers have skyrocketed. I don't remember joining Gherkin Guild. I've been fishing, but I think I'm still guildless. Very curious about Mountain Archery. We're happy with the change and feedback. Water Kiwi, thank you for the subscription. Yeah, so the wobble system have been missing for a long time, and it's a very important component that we wanted to have in the game. So yes, we're very happy with that, and the general feedback is happy about that. So there's always room again for some tweakings. The specific wobble motion may be a little static. There are always room for some polish removement in terms of making the look and feel a little bit more smoother in a different way. But yeah, in general we're happy to have that very important component in the game, and so are the main community that knows it's an important part. Just as knockdown function is an important component that we're also working on to get into the game. But like I said, how it looks and feels is there's always room for tweaks and updates when it comes to that. Will Unreal 5 help with render distance for characters? You have such vast landscapes, but it would mean a lot more if you could see players from far away. So Unreal Engine doesn't affect this at all. The engine only renders things on your screen, and we can tell it to render whatever range we decide to. Obviously, depending on how things are being rendered, the systems is working and loading. That's partially an engine, and that's also something that we are working on when it comes to optimization. But no, the engine doesn't simply change that at all. That's on our end and the network solution. But I actually have updates in regards of that. Since we did a huge server backend optimization last patch, we now finally, as I've said many times, and it's a very common question, we are able to increase the render distance on players. So yes, you will see further render distance on players, but not only when you're able to see the players, but also when you see the different information such as name, guilds, names, gear, and animation. So that should also help seeing what happens further away. So that's actually something we are adding in this next patch. You will see increased steps in that. And of course, we're following up on that and making sure that's working as intended as well. Does this include render distance and fix the rendering and then teleporting? So there's a few things in that. So for instance, if someone is moving over level streaming, the gamer, thank you for a subscription. So if your client or you watch your friend, for instance, riding over a level streaming line, you will see him kind of freeze in place during that moment. His computer is actually freezing, and then he's kind of speeding up, almost warping and teleporting ahead a little bit. That is due to the level streaming issues we have in Mortal Online right now. And that is something we are rebuilding and fixing in Unreal Engine 5. So all the transition, both in first person and third person, will be much smoother in terms of that. Six-day mainland noob here, and I love your game. I'm excited to see what else you implement. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, JJ. Appreciate it, and awesome that you found Mortal Online and enjoying it so far. And yeah, we're getting a lot of juicy things ahead quite soon, as you will see in our roadmap. I'm gonna go through in a moment here as well. When adding third person, we do not plan to add third person. It's not that type of game. As soon as we add, or if we would add third person, everyone would be playing it in third person instead, which also means you're bypassing the whole first person experience. You can watch, you can see around walls and corners, you can cheat, and you're looking at your character rather than being your character. The whole combat system and how everything is built around will also be completely changed and won't work the same way. So it is meant to be first person only, and that's also one of the game hooks. We can add more and more content that also promotes first person only, and it will simply get a more exciting first person experience, more immersed. Scare tactics and other mechanics can be used, and of course, what you see, what your character in your eye see is also what other players can see. When you want to watch through, around a wall, you have to peek out with your head to see, rather than just rotate the camera and cheat. So many good reasons why we go first person only the whole way. Will Unreal 5 optimize the game a bit more? So there are several areas that we will have optimization when it comes to Unreal Engine 5, yes. But there's also areas that needs to be built in a little bit different way for us to make sure that performance is solid. There's a baseline cost when we enable lumens, for instance, how we light the whole world. It's gonna look amazing in next gen, freaking awesome, but that baseline is a little bit higher than the lighting system in the old engine. So obviously we need to make sure that that is heavily optimized, and we also identify the biggest bottleneck in our world and taking the opportunity to optimize those bottlenecks to make sure in general it's more smoother gaming experience. I dare to play as a tamer for 3 hours and see how impossible it is to move pets with you. Stain, you are correct. It's one of the most common petition we have in the game. And I have good news. You will see that on our roadmap very shortly. Any plans to change the way chest loot works? It's currently not very exciting to open containers because they are constantly dry looted. Yeah, there's a very good reason why that is. And we do understand and have got the feedback that, yeah, when you run around in the world exploring, finding new points of interest, very often they are already looted and therefore there's nothing for you to loot. There's a few mechanic updates we are planning to add to those loot chests to make sure that we can, in a better way, make sure there's loot at most of the times. Obviously, we want to make sure that can't be abused, because how the system works right now requires us to have the loot tick to be quite sparse, to make sure that if there's a chest that haven't been looted for a long time, there may not be a limit on it, and you know, it will be very crazy balance wise if that is the case. So yeah, we know that we need some updates when it comes to that to secure more reliable loot, pretty much. Henrik showing Elementalism today. We're not going to have Elementalism as the main focus topic today. I was planning to go through the roadmap, and if there's any discussion or questions regarding those, I mean, if most of you guys want to talk a little bit more about Elementalism when we're going through the roadmap, I'm willing to talk a little bit about it. I was planning to do a dedicated Elementalism stream quite soon, now that everything is pretty much falling into place, so I know exactly what we can offer. There's been a few question marks up till now, pretty much. So yeah, that's what I'm planning, at least. Third person is so bad, completely removes the feel of Mortal Line. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the come again. World of Warcraft put a lot of mainstream views on how MMO are today, and then there are hundreds WoW clones. So of course, the majority of players are used to be able to toggle in third person, and all games have been copying that. But again, we're not trying to copy another WoW clone. We're trying to do a very specific, unique, true sandbox MMORPG, and we focus on first person only. So yeah, a very common question for those that have no clue what Mortal Line is: how do I target the third person? They say in help, and yeah, obviously that's not an option. And many of them may also say, hey, I prefer third person. Can you please add that function? It would be great. But the longer they play Mortal Line, they start to get used to it and love that it's the same term for everyone, and we just have to play it how it's meant to be played, and that is how we do it in Mortal Line. So yeah. Can we have the rare trinket gem lock work for fishing too, please? Yeah, we can most likely add that function. Sebastian did confirm that it doesn't affect fishing. I wasn't sure, but that seems to be the case. So yeah, we can add support for that later on. Please can I address the Halloween event drops rates being abysmal low. It was insanely fun the first day. So we're expanding the we have a bit longer Halloween event than initially planned, and also following some of Steam's Halloween marketing steps when it comes to I don't know if you noticed, but on on Steam now our game is marked for having a spooky content in this patch during a specific time period. And because we are having a longer time with these walkers, and obviously we can't have too frequent drops, because they do drop, they can drop some very powerful rare items, and obviously we can't allow them to drop, you know, every time you go to the graveyard. So it's a balanced thing. That person here say or if I would just bring a ton of new problems, why would it just bring new problems then? It will bring a lot of solved problems as well, and make the game look much nicer and better. And there are these pretty good improvement section areas in engine that we will highly benefit from. And of course we're gonna make the best really use nanites, which is a huge thing to optimize the game also, and not only optimize, actually making it look even more detailed also. So the engine gives us a very good new tech to move forward. Are planning to implement a story quest system, or is the plan to players write their own stories? So the backbone is that it's meant to be a pure sandbox game with a lot of tools, a lot of sand, and of course, you know, there's a start or a general lore on the website to just give the players an idea of what is this place and what are the different nations, and you know, some of the stories that happened in the past, and also what leads up till, you know, the time we are in now. There will be more lore in different types, and also especially spread in the game. It wasn't that long ago we added the notes and book function that allows us to actually add lore in a immersive way in the game, and expanding that to our journal systems and so on. So we do plan to give more lore, more conflict options, and different times that the players also can affect in. So players can always obviously try to look and go deep for finding and reading and learning more about that, and also participate in some of the upcoming conflicts and changings in the world depending on what happens. But then of course we also heavily try to promote player-driven lore events, you know, happenings with different tools for those that are interested in just going their own way. So it's up to the players, obviously, if you're looking for finding things in the game world, or simply trying to create things yourself, or with your friends, or whatever that may be, or you just simply are there for do some specific features and not care about any of this. So, and that's part of it being a true sandbox. So yeah, we see the roadmap. Okay, I think it's time to go to the roadmap sections, guys. I've made my brief update on things, and I'm already slipping into a lot of question here. So let me move topic to the one I know many of you guys have been waiting for, including myself, to finally put live to. Yeah, I'm falling way behind, so I guess I'm just gonna scroll down so I'm up to date, and then I'm gonna change to our it's time for the new roadmap reveal, guys. So let me see. Here we have 1 moment. Drum roll. All right, so let me see. Here it is. All right, here we got the new roadmap, guys. Let's go through it a little bit. And I also again want to point out and make it very clear that there are room for changes in this roadmap still. It's been a huge puzzle, as I said, to put the different pieces together, how they link together, and all the different developers in the team. So we have no dates communicated on these. And like I said, there are room for possible tweaks and changes. And we also obviously don't add everything that are involved. We just pretty much picked the main things that we keep getting questions about. When is this coming? Is it coming? And so on. It's repeating those questions every stream. So we made sure that we cover as much as possible that we are, more sure of and can present. So already in our next patch around the corner, no dates, Greg MO. So next patch we already have the combine tool, which actually gives a lot of content in different ways for our game. For instance, it gives us the Kegs system, so all you alchemists can finally put your potions in a huge kegs rather than having 50 items filling your bank and bags. Same thing when you're selling large quantities of these different potions. And obviously soon there are coming a lot more effects that's gonna make even more use for it. So big business and trade for Kegs, and obviously all the players, including melee fighters, are gonna get good use for this, because they're gonna have some interesting potions to play around with as well. So, and again, it's a feature we get almost freely because of the combine tool. The combine tool also allows you to put together different things in the world. You can create your own campfires, for instance. Where is what is his name again? Crimson. It's been thought we were so stupid not to add craftable campfires. Finally, we getting them. We were waiting for combine tool, which was the reason we didn't have campfires constructible. So, so yeah, you'll be able to create things like that. You'll be able to put together artifacts and so on. So there's a lot of different things that comes with combine tool, and also future functions with the next magic school and so on. So why isn't TC earlier? Yeah, because we had to put pause on everything TC related when we noticed what areas we need to rebuild and improve when it comes to the backend and servers. So those coders simply had to pause all that work, and it's been on pause for quite a while. If those issues wouldn't have happened during release, then obviously they would have been already finished, pretty much TC. And that's also what we communicated, that look, we need to pause everything. We need to get the core working perfectly before we can add something like TC, because we know TC is a huge thing and sieging that's going to bring a lot of old guilds back, a lot of groups and players going to start playing again. If we have major backend server issues and can't even support large-scale battles, how fun would it be to have a huge siege when you can't even see anyone attacking or registering any actions? So that wouldn't be fun, right? So that is why we need to spend the time now to actually do those things that we planned to do quite a few months ago. so yeah. But let's continue a bit. If I can just briefly go through a little bit, and then we can discuss whatever you want to discuss. Let's see. We have so a lot of you guys have been asking for more hotbar options, obviously, also, especially now with more magic coming into the game. So we're adding those hotbar options, so that wouldn't be a problem anymore. And then Stain, we have something we call pet follow, and you can guess what that is. One of the most annoying or repetitive petition our GMs get is pets following and having problems. So we actually built a new pet follow system that it's used in a completely different way in securing that part. So you can have your pet following you all over the world, and they're gonna be fast. So even though you tell your turtle to follow you on mount, it's gonna follow you. So they're gonna run fast because and they're gonna follow you no matter how you run around in the world. So we're securing that part, even including if you're going over a river or something, it's gonna get you. So we're securing that part, and hopefully we will see a huge change in those amount of petitions when the pets following having having GMs to work day and night just to help the players with that. So that's obviously a huge quality of life thing and important for us to finally get into place. We try to make it as dynamic as possible and realistic, how the animal behaves and how they follow. And it's a never-ending project. We will almost require a whole team that does nothing about that. So it wasn't really worth it. So we had to kind of make sure that the game mechanics works more reliable. And along with that, it may be that, you know, your pets may teleport when it's stuck and can't navigate to you. Solutions that make sure the pet can follow you. If there's a small branch or nothing that doesn't look, it looks silly, it should be able to follow you, and it gets stuck today. That shouldn't be something that happens. So yeah, an important quality of life, and also obviously very important for the upcoming Beastmaster, as you can see. And yeah, as always, we add a lot of points of interest in the world to populate it in different forms. And then we have new dungeons. We have Mournkur dungeon are being expanded, and it's going to be very cool. It's not the same sewer as obviously the Tyrannic Empire sewer, so you're going to see a whole new style and different things over there. Yeah, and of course, a lot of polish is going to be a focus as well here. Then we have Beast Mastery, and that is a huge thing. We talked about that quite a bit as well. So along with Beast Master skills, you will now be able to get access to new abilities on all the species in the world. And that's also something that's going to expand over time. So all of a sudden, it may be interesting to go for a pack of wolf or the Kegs or many of the animals that, you know, usually tamers don't use today because they're simply too weak, and there are some animals that are better. And that means we're eliminating a lot of content and animals that aren't being used. So, for instance, if you use a Kogre and you learn Beast Mastery, you will be able to command it to make a specific slice with its paws and cut a deep wound in your targets. If you perform that correctly, it will be more deadly. You can also command it to be swift, like a burst, and run quickly. Different things like that. And every family species have their own natural special abilities that are interesting. So even the smallest creature like a razorback, not really small, but you know, quite weak, right? All of a sudden you may want to use a razorback because it can actually knock people, you know, push them away with a very fierce ramming ability. And then of course we have other, you know, there can be poisonous animals and all kind of different things that you naturally could expect that those animals would do, just like in real life. So we're trying to incorporate that kind of depth, which also means they will be quite passive. It won't be like the so-called Pokemon Online that some people said it was in the first game, where you just command it, attack, and then stay behind. We are eliminating that as much as we can and adding player skills, reading the opportunity, player skills, and focus. So you have to be a good Beastmaster now to actually be a good tamer. You can't just be passive and think it's going to solve everything for you. So every creature going to have a lower baseline. It's going to be a little bit more passive if you tell them to attack. But you tell them to do special commands, and then it will shine a lot more and be more powerful and interesting results. So that is an important balance factor we're finally tapping into with Beast Mastery to get that on the right position. And like I said, it's something that can grow in infinity over time. Every species and animal can get more and more special attacks that make sense. And obviously with more animals going into the game, there will be more of those as well. And then we have a new mount, as you can see. What kind of mount could that be, guys? What kind of mount is it? That's the question, guys. But we're looking at a new mount. Gar, Mulva. Maybe the Mulva, right? It does look like a Mulva, right? The silhouette kind of looks like a Mulva beast, if I'm not wrong, and your eyes is not wrong. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting, of course, and it's gonna give a powerful, strong beast to play around with in different ways. And we're also working on equipment for all our animals now, finally. You're gonna be able to have bags and armors on all animals eventually. I don't know the order of what packs coming in, and also, like I mentioned before, we have some new developers getting into position. So I decided not to put them on a roadmap for now, but somewhere you can expect content for all the creatures that you can put different craft and put armors on and bags on. So obviously they connect quite a lot. Mounts, and then with Beast Mastery, Pet Follow. Just overall, using pets is going to be more smooth, better experience, more fun, and we require more player skills. Why not chainmail in this game? Chainmail. There are some, but no full classic chainmails. What's the new mounts? The people guess it's gonna be the Mulva Beast. It looks like the Mulva Beasts. We can only speculate. And then we have house trade and demolish function. So this is quality of life tools. A lot of you guys have been asking for as well. To be able to trade a house, demolish the house if you wanna take it down and build somewhere else. Just good function we've been waiting for. Pet in-house supports. So as you know, we are missing Namesh in-houses. Holy shit, he's small though. Well, it's just a silhouette of, I mean, if you look at this, it's just may not be true to the in-game scales and stuff. It's just art-wise for us to see what's going on, right? But you will see. So yeah, navigation for animals inside houses is going to be important as well. You see, there's a lot of synergy and a lot of the things connect together. That's why I try to cover a lot of things that make sense for some of the other features that are coming here. So to make sure that, again, pets use mounts, constructing cities with huge mounts where you're going to have bags on. Obviously, we want to make sure this is smooth and convenient, which means they need to be able to path correctly inside and outside of houses. That is why we are kind of putting that there because it's a so common petition again and annoyance that we want to make sure that it's something we want to work on and solve. And then we have some alchemy effects, as mentioned before. Again, more use for the kegs. That comes from combined tools. So there's going to be some important potions for everyone to use, including melee fighters, to again adapt to the battlefield along with all magic coming, and additional options, which is going to be very interesting. And then of course we have the huge upgraded next generation Elementalism magic school. That's going to be extremely exciting to get it into the game. There's a huge update from the first game. You're going to recognize pretty much all spells more or less. Going to recognize most of the function of those. But then you're going to see a whole new thing added to Elementalism that just makes it very exciting. And it's something we wanted to have from day one, but couldn't for a few different reasons, tech-wise. And we couldn't solve some of the feature-wise pretty much. And now, finally, we almost have no limitation, which makes this extremely exciting to work on a game like Mortal Online in this day and age, and having the team that can pretty much deliver anything that we design, which is very exciting. So you will see a lot of the things we talked about 10 years ago that stay much more true and close and accurate to what we talked about and what the goal and vision were, but we couldn't get closer than where we were in the first game pretty much, but this time we're getting that. Didn't you say you need Unreal Engine 5 before Elementalism? Yes, we thought that was the case. We have gone through everything that is required and how everything works, and we found a more suitable way that allows us to add it without Unreal Engine 5, but at the same time having it already prepared, so whenever Unreal Engine 5 hits, the transition is smooth. We don't need to rebuild something. So we found a very good natural way to solve that. And it's also good to spread some of the big things so we can have dedicated focus on balancing and QA testing more isolated rather than having multiple huge ones in the same session, if that makes sense. And yeah, the weather system goes hand in hand, obviously, with Elementalism, as many of you already know. And it just does such a cool thing, and it's so unique for a game, especially an MMO game where one player can, change the weather in the area for everyone being in that area, which is just so awesome for a mage to show their true powers to control the weather. And obviously there may also become a weather battle between the mages eventually, and obviously the strongest mage may determine the weather outcome, which is going to become even more important when there's a siege going on or something like that, when you really want to have the weather on your side as a defender or offender. So it's laggy. No, that's always our main prioritized order. We're going to make sure that we don't bloat the world with effects that kills the performance. That's a key component for us, or key rule, I would say. Gameplay before visuals, even though we want to push the visuals as far as we possibly can, obviously. So yeah, I plan to showcase the weather system very soon as well. It's, the little things I've seen already looks just insane, like I'm entering a movie. The atmosphere and feeling just awesome, and then to be able to manipulate that as a mage and cast elementalist spells based on that is it's so cool. This is something me and Mats just dreamt about 10 years ago, and we're trying to get close to that, but now we're actually doing it, so it's gonna be exciting. And yeah, the school is growing tremendously. I don't remember how many spells we had in the first game, but when I go through Elementalism with you, I think you're gonna be blown away with what's going on there. It's really cool. And then of course we have the very important sprint that everyone been waiting for. A lot of people are coming back for. They won't start playing the game until this actually hits the game finally. And yeah, unfortunately it had to be pushed quite a lot due to the component that needs to be in place in the background. I mean, in background of this, we're also obviously, like I said, working on a network solution. That's nothing we add on the sprint. It's nothing that tells the player much. We're obviously going to keep it in the patch notes, but it's usually something that if you can't see it, touch it, or get affected, it doesn't exist for the players, right? But for us, it's a huge thing. For instance, the server optimization we did last patch was insanely huge and large, and a huge boulder from our shoulders was dropped when we saw that finally working. So there's a few of those milestones also being hit in the background to make sure that when you build your city and have your first large siege with hundreds of players, the server needs to handle that with grace and smooth without any issues. So that's why we need proper time to make sure we can support it. And yeah, then we have some little table games. The back end and the first game going into the game that allows you to start your own tavern and play some blackjack, for instance. And later on we plan to add more table games, many different types. So you will be able to do all kind of things in Mortal Online. There should always be something to do. If you're tired of fighting and need a break for fighting, you can sit playing games and try to make money doing that, or do any other feature that this sandbox game offers the players. Subscriptions aren't coming anytime soon, are they? No, they are coming with the Epic release. So as you can see, we need to get all these things into place before we plan to enable it. hitting Epic Games with all these features and finally getting those huge systems in place that we plan to add later on, after release, earlier initially, which we had to postpone due to many issues. We're finally, obviously, if everything goes as planned, we're getting all those pieces in the game in place where it needs to be. And that's also where we plan to enable the subscriptions. That makes most sense for the players as well, obviously. And of course, then we have the golden Epic Release tab, which is the biggest milestone in the end of this roadmap that we need to reach. Yeah, Texas Hold'em and Dice. Those are games we're gonna have. So obviously, with Epic Game Release, we're gonna have the initial steps with server preparation, capacity upgrades, just to be as prepared as we possibly can, including a plan B, if depending on what happens, how many players we get, we also have a plan B already put out to just be able to switch things if needed to. So we're gonna be really as prepared as we possibly can, and obviously making use of all experience and past events leading us up to that point. Yes, Didnub, it's recorded and it's going to be posted on YouTube tomorrow. We always do a recap with timelines, so you can scroll through these videos the day after if anyone missed it or you want to hear about any of the questions. So yeah, other than that, we have a huge thing, also very important for especially new player experience. The new player experience, tasks, and nations. We've been talking about this a lot also over the month, and we have tried to pinpoint how new players experience the game, what they need, and all of that. Obviously, one very important component for this game is to make sure that we keep as many new players as possible, so they get a fair chance to understand it, get into the game, and hopefully, getting into the game. That's what all of us, we benefit from a healthy growing population. So it's very important we have those pieces in place as well, so we take care of new players in a very thought out plan. And this is what this is all about also. Another one very important, which connects new players to old players, is the notice board, guild info and recruitment. So this means you will be able to put your guild's information, contact person, and all kind of information on all notice boards in the whole world, all cities, even on Haven. So this allows new players to go to the notice board and find recruitments, information, and contact players, because we know one of the most powerful thing is there's a lot of new people and players that are exciting to play in this game, and many of them have difficulties finding that group of those players with like-minded ideas and play styles. So they kind of have this disconnection and don't really get into it because they're running around alone, even though they want to find a group and don't really know how to take that step if they don't find a Discord or whatever that reason that may be, or they even don't use Discord, they just want to play in the game and don't care about Discord or forums or anything like that. There's a lot of those players out there. Now we can finally connect those players in the game, so you can very effectively recruit new players, and obviously the new players will be able to communicate and engage and join you at mass armies. So very powerful tool for both new players and old. Slappies Joe, thank you for donation. Hi Henrik, with subscription 2 players slot will be amazing. I don't know anyone in the community who are against it. Give it a deep consider if you can. Yeah, we will go through the free to play event and the possible 2 Diva system when our minds isn't completely occupied with this roadmap. So that's something we're gonna look into for sure when we actually have more time to sit down and carefully go through the different pros and cons and everything tied to that. Then of course we have night vision along with Unreal Engine 5. We talked about that a little bit, quite self-explanatory as well. The zone rules, we talked about that as well when it comes to different tiers of areas that have different rules. So for instance, if you have a high standing with the Tinremic Empire, you can access high tier areas and NPCs, which you can't if you don't have proper standings. And then if you go out into no man's land, far out from civilization, you are even on a no zone, like 0 sec, null sec in one line, which means there's no, if you murder someone, that haven't happened. There's no report function or no flagging rules whatsoever. It's like no man's land. Yeah, no-go zones, So obviously go there at your own risk. Anything can happen, and there's no witness, no reports, no nation that can take responsibility for what happens there. And then we have the high security zones, obviously, with the cities. We wanna offer new players the choice to choose a starting city with high security, and obviously there will be patrolling path and guard station around and through some of these areas outside as well, with less security, partial security, and then of course down to 0 security. So that's kind of what that means. And yeah, Thievery. Many of you guys have been waiting for Thievery for a long time. There's a lot of old-time thieves from the first game that are really waiting for this one. And as you know, we're going to refine it this time. It's going to be basically following the same system, but it's going to make more sense, be more balanced, more risk-reward for the thieves. So you won't see 10 naked thieves surrounding a new player or a veteran player at the bank and just steal death, steal death, steal death. That's something we want to fix this time around. Again, to make it more make sense. And a theft should be more thought through, planned, and give a more exciting opportunity or exciting moments for all parties involved. So I think it's going to be a good balance when it comes to implementing Thievery. Thievery is the worst thing you can put in game. No, like I said, we obviously know what we're talking about when it comes to Thievery. We have had Thievery in the first game for 10 years, and we know all about it and how it plays. And like I said, we have some very important balance changes that will kind of address some of the concerns with Thievery. So I think we have it good under control. And it's an important base feature that we want to have in a game early on now as well, that players always learn, be careful because there are thieves out there, just like in real life. And as long as you adapt and learn that early on, you're not going to be in too much trouble because you're going to take care, right? So there's going to be important changes from the first game, like I said. And then we have a little thing called citizen behavior. Obviously, we plan to make Mortal Online feel alive. Any NPC or player or whatever you may meet, you don't know if it's a player or an NPC, we still want the game world to feel alive and living. Day-night cycles, seasons, citizens are working, walking around, communicating and sleeping, a cycle. A living, breathing city with people shouting things, cooking things, crafting things. We don't obviously want to have static NPCs just standing there and that's it. So whenever you walk into a city, it should give some of this feeling experience that, oh, what's going on in here? Just like in any other RPG game, pretty much. We're missing that component, and it adds so much to the immersive level. New players that go in get a much more exciting, immersive experience. And obviously, we care a lot about the immersive level in our game, as you know. So it's a good thing to start building on as well. And like I said, that's also something can grow and expand into infinity. It's just all about the ideas and concept that we come up with over time. And even you guys come up with really cool suggestions. And if it's doable, we may add it to the game. Please make NPCs respond to VoIP like Alexa. Yeah, it could be tricky, but everything is doable, but it has to make sense also and be worth the spending of the development. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think about it? What is your first glance and view on this roadmap? You never know how people react to it or how to interpret things. What's your first glance thoughts? TC needs to be a priority, and it is, and it is. There's a very good reason why it is there. Yes, it's not coming in the first sprints, but for very good reasons, like I explained a few moments ago. If TC isn't good and the server can't support it, what good is TC, right? TC should be first. Yeah, like I said now a few times, there's a very good reason of the order of this roadmap. But yeah, we fully understand that everyone wants TC tomorrow, right? But we need to make sure it's going to be worth it and be great when you finally get it. That's more worth it, right? What is the general guess on how long this would take? So again, we want to be very careful not mentioning any dates. That's why we just call them sprints. This gives you the idea of order of things. So, you know, everyone that have been asking for when is Elementalism coming, when is, you will see in what order, and that will give you approximately time. Obviously, when we have delivered sprint 3, you know next patch gonna give you Elementalism finally. Sprint 1 year. No. I mean, again, I won't comment really on any days right now. We don't wanna, feel that we need to rush into specific dates just because we announce them. It can put us in a tricky position, and we want to try to avoid that, and also make people not happy if that plan changes. But I mean, you get a general sense of how frequent we patch already, which means you can start counting the patches, starting with the next one, which is sprint 1, and then of course you will have a pretty good general idea and feeling of in what rate we're delivering them, and when you can expect the next one to come. So the next patch, next patch is actually pretty much on when the Halloween event. We plan to end the Halloween event on Steam, so that is getting pretty close as well. We're not that far off. So yeah, that's, you can put the rest together to kind of get your own general estimations, pretty much. Feels like subscription going to turn a lot of the players away. I mean, obviously there's going to be those that don't want to pay a subscription, but we also try to make it very clear that when we reach this milestone, which means, what we believe is having the full baseline, which is actually quite a lot more than almost most other MMOs when it comes to different features. We made it very clear that the business model for this game, to protect the game and make the best possible game moving forward, we need a subscription model. And we try to make this very clear. So whenever a player reads up on this game, or even read the first line on Steam, it says require a subscription, but it's not activated at this moment. That should be as clear as possible. And, when you read that, you understand that to continue to play this game when we reach this milestone, we need to cover the cost, right? We can't magically make this happen on its own. And we don't want to tie things on pay to win or lock content, crap like that. So a subscription model gives the best possible game. And we're already seeing a strong voice in our community that the majority agrees that if we can reach these milestones and deliver this game, those players are happy to pay that subscription model and enjoy the game at fully. And that's what we're committed to. And if that's what needed for the game. Sure, there will always be those that claim, what the hell, this is not World of Warcraft. What the hell, you can even full PvP and loot someone. This is not the game I sign up for. Those that doesn't read the first line on a game they buy, yeah, there's a good chance that they may quit the game because it has PvP and full loot, and yeah, subscription model. That's why we do it very clear. First line on the website points out it's a subscription-based game when we reach these milestones that will offer a shitload of content and features for any MMO interested player, and hopefully will enjoy and support it. Permanent ritual circus when? So there's a few things like that we haven't put on the roadmap. So we discussed if we wanted to add that earlier than the Namish in houses. They go a little bit hand in hand. It's not going to be the best experience when you pull out a pet inside a building and you can't really tell it to follow you, and it's a struggle. That is solved with the pet in-house Namish system. So you see, it makes sense to put them two together, but you guys have said let's skip that. We can handle the struggle. Give us it earlier. So we will look into if that's something we can do and do want to do. So there are things that can pop up during the different sprints here that we haven't put on the roadmap that gives you different things, content and features. Line 2, I'm happy to 15 month for long-lived high-quality game. Yeah, I mean, it's also a game for, maybe a little bit more of a mature audience, even though we may be childish at times and make silly things. But, while a huge audience were around 14 years old in World of Warcraft, our mid-range age is quite higher. And, hopefully $14-25 a month shouldn't be a game-breaking factor or a problem economy-wise to handle. And we're also looking to support regional-based subscriptions. So hopefully that will be something that isn't hindering those that really want to commit to a game like this. Personally, I agree with the subscription. I'd rather pay to play a game where everyone has access to the same opportunities. But just wondering if you were planning on doing what you did with Modern 1. So after this, we are going to look into, we have looked and discussed into giving free-to-play options on Haven only. And it makes sense, and it could fit, and it could work. So after this, we're looking to possibly implement that, again, to help promote awareness of the game. And those that are unsure could jump on Haven to get a taste for the game and hopefully attract more players that was unsure, that hopefully find something they really like already on Haven and then commit to the full game. So that's something we are looking into. The weather system affect your character with hot cold systems. Yes. So the baseline of each biome's temperatures on Milan is a medium level, which means they're not really affecting your character as they are. When we move to other continents, that goes more to the extremes. 25 a month. No, 14.25 a month. Pretty standard. And discounts if you commit to 3 or 6. So, for instance, if you go to Sarka, the desert continent, you will be able to reach extreme hot temperatures. If you go to Nordveld, you will reach extreme cold temperatures, and those will start affecting your character more and more, and even hurt you. Like getting fried in the desert in steel armor. That you may not want. You may not want to run around in steel armor in the deserts. But with the mages, they will be able to change the weather and heat the temperatures. There's no MMO that has 25 subscription bad move. No, like I said, the subscription is not going to be $25 US. It's going to be $14.25. So just below World of Warcraft subscription. So just following a standard there with a little discount. So yeah, so you will be able to have some mage affect the weather a little bit further. So there may be an impact a little bit on the players in that region. One of the main reasons a mage may want to change the weather is because they want to tap into specific spells. Some spells will only work if the weather allows it. For instance, if you want to create something that it comes from wet humidity, obviously the biome area can't be dry or hot. You need to make it colder or wetter, such as adding a little bit humidity or even rain, even better. And then you have the opposite. If you want to do something, a fiery thing spell that is very powerful, you have to remove all the humidity and rain in that area. So it makes it very interesting, and also obviously a very good way of balancing very powerful spells. This is English. Yeah. It needs to say $14.25. Sorry. That's why I pointed out the second time, because I saw not only one misheard me or I was unclear. Yes, 14 US dollar is the baseline per month. So standard World of Warcraft fees, pretty much. And we're gonna offer bigger packages if you want to commit. You want to play for a long time. You're gonna get even more discounts on those packages. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's on our website as well, and it will be obviously very clear whenever we enable the subscriptions. Lifetime. We haven't really had the time to think about it at all at this point. We did offer some crazy packs in the first game that actually gave lifetime, and those lifetimes even moved over to Mortal 2, and those long-term players are committed to play Mortal 2 also. Obviously that turned out to be a very good deal, right? So maybe we're gonna offer something similar this time around. Live burn. Multiple character per account, please. Yeah, like I said earlier, we're gonna evaluate the whole situation when it comes to the Diva system that we did design a long time ago, and we need to see how that impact the game. Like we said many times, we try to rebuild the whole skill system and how the player interaction, and trying to promote player interaction and trades in a healthy way. The more players playing their role, committing to that and having fun with that, and don't feel forced to play other things they don't like because they need to provide themselves other things. We want to try to make the best possible gaming experience. The more players, the better, and you can just choose whatever you enjoy the most, and you buy and trade the rest. That's the dream goal vision for this game. And obviously, the more we add more characters and stuff like that, and how we design the skill tree systems, there will always be those that obviously want to, go hardcore and get multiple characters, etc., and accounts, just like in any other MMOs. But yeah, you see where we're going with this, how we design the game to be as good as possible when it just comes to a growing player population base, and you just commit to one character, which is also a little bit more common. I guess the more casual players may only have time to commit to one character, and then there are always more hardcore that commit to tons of them, right? So we understand that, and we have to go through the Diva system and see how it could fit and how it could work before we decide that important step later down the road. Just like in Star Wars Galaxies, you could only have one character on one server, and it was a brilliant MMORPG. A lot of people enjoy that game. I did also, one of the best, I think, so far of the Ultima line. And like I said, we were very inspired from that game as well, and it worked brilliantly with one character. So you have to have this trade, and I contribute with this, and my friend contribute with something else. It's a big satisfaction, and it promotes trade and economy, and so many things it promotes in a good way. So you see what we are at least aiming for here. With Kegs vials fully, or can you select how much PU vial? Where did it go? We'll have a pour in function, so it's being tested right now, and it should be following the same rules as in the first game. I have no friends. You don't have to have friends. That's the beautiful thing as well, because you will be able to find hundreds of possible friends in Mortal Online. Player interaction is a big thing in Mortal Online. Obviously, we don't force anyone to interact, but that's why we spend a lot of time to build our own VoIP system, which is a one-of-a-kind in the world, actually. There are some big companies that offer VoIP system for online games, which many online games just purchase and use and pay license to. We evaluated those VoIPs, and they were, frankly, not good enough for this type of game. So we build our own, and it supports our game exactly how it needed to be. So we have proper, efficient communication tools, promoting trade tools. So yeah. If the population was there, but population. I mean, obviously the plan is to have an explosion of players and a healthy, growing population, along with reaching Epic Games platform. Along with this milestone, we're starting everything. All the promotion, marketing. We have influencers on standby. All of that we put on hold since release issues. Obviously, we plan to start that. So we're looking at this as a second release, and obviously we have to see what kind of population we're looking at, right? Before we say it's not there, because we plan it to be there, obviously, when we release on Epic Games Store and start promoting the game, so the whole world can get to know about Mortal Online. Still today, there's only a fraction that knows about Mortal Online compared to, big awareness, which we plan to change when we hit Epic Game Store. What I keep losing sound in the game? Oh, I can't say for sure. That sounds strange. I don't think I've ever experienced that or heard that from many others. I know there's an issue where we had over a few hundred players in a fight when the sound bugged out a bit. The engine simply couldn't handle that many sound cues. It's, again, that's built to support hundreds of players. So those are things we need to work around to improve, but to completely lose it, I'm not sure what that could be. It's, too high subscription would be the nail into coffin. 14.25 sounds a very high price. I mean, it's below the other subscription games such as World of Warcraft and so on. So it's actually a standardized price just below it. So I don't know why you think it's high. There's nothing. The others are higher. World of Warcraft is 14.95, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and so was EVE Online. All those online games were 14.95. So it's a standard price. Will Thievery include assassin skills? No, assassin is another profession. I mean, they go a little bit hand in hand, but no, assassin is more handling poisoning, applying poisoning, and so on. And we decided again not to put it on the map because we are a little bit unsure depending on some of the devs going into the pipeline. So there may be some changes over these roadmaps. There may be some additions over. So that's something I wanna again point out. Three months by sprint. No, I mean, you've seen how regular we're already patching, just to give you a rough feeling for how regular we patch, right? And it doesn't take 3 months until we patch something. That only happened with the necromancy patch that was delayed for many other reasons. I don't know if it was 3 months or 2 months. But usually we patch quite a bit more regular. And we're also careful again not to just throw in tons of big exciting features and don't really have the proper time to polish them and also handle other bugs that we're working on also. So we try to be careful here. Guys, it's either pay to win or sub. You pick. I gladly pay a sub. Henrik and team aren't in this to take a loss to please cheap players. It is true that you have to pick, right? What business model do we put on Mortal 9? And we fully designed the game to be a 100% gaming experience. Fair game, same opportunities for everyone, and everything is craftable, buildable, collectible, all of that, right? To give full power to the players. Nobody special. Thank you for the subscription. Let's talk about really important adjustable. I'm not sure about that, if that's so important. But yeah, like I said, there needs to be, a business model tied to be able to develop a game like this and continue developing. Again, Mortal 9 will never be finished. We will keep adding amazing features on every roadmap. Roadmap is good, but we really need die system before TC, please. Please squeeze it in. We know it's a very high value in it, and we have looked into how to make that possible and what is required. And it's in the gray zone, and we don't dare to add it if it's in the gray zone. So, because this one is also dependent on one or two possible new developers, and we can't just put that in stone if that's a little bit uncertain, as you can understand. But yeah, I really hope that along with these new developers, that can happen. And then we will actually add the die call system and guild emblem system on the roadmap and upcoming streams, patches. But right now, when they're in the gray zone, we don't dare to do it. That would just be disappointing, right? If it doesn't come along in time. Spells not counting down towards titles, not being able to cast until reload, and capturing spirits is a painful experience. Yeah, like I said, we are focusing on bugs as well and trying to cover all we can reproduce and have reported from the players. And think about it, every time we release a new expansion and so on, you're not gonna buy the expansion again. We don't sell expansions like World of Warcraft do and most other online games do. We keep giving you those expansions for free. All you need to do is enable that subscription whenever you want to play. So I think we are as generous as we can be to offer the best possible gaming experience and a unique one without hindering any crap for the players. And players come and goes, just like in the first game. If you want to take a break or waiting on a specific feature, you just disable your subscription and then you can come back whenever you want and continue playing for that sub fee. And that allows us to keep expanding the world, giving new expansions, new features. And again, I mean, this is obviously a very exciting roadmap. We are finally reaching that very important milestone. Like I said, after this has been delivered, we're going to present a new roadmap, and you're going to see some very exciting features on that one as well in the upcoming months. So it's never going to end. We just keep on adding and making the game better and better and larger and more features. 425 a month, just don't buy a McDonald's meal 1 month. Come on. I mean, that's $14 is quite a lot cheaper than one McDonald's meal here in Sweden. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's different for everyone and depending on people's situation, but we try to follow a standard here when it comes to those few online games that have a subscription fee tied to them, and we're just below that actually. So, you know, hopefully people will support the game and get something unique that are not offered by anyone else, pretty much. We're not comparing our game to World of Warcraft, and I wouldn't, and I don't wanna, because that would just confuse people. That what does Mortline have in relation to World of Warcraft? Nothing, other than, you know, it costs money to be able to support it. We're making a very different game than World of Warcraft, and it's you know, the main audience is also quite different. But we're actually seeing surprisingly many World of Warcraft players slowly moving their way towards Mortal Online, which is awesome to see, because they're looking forward to something more exciting, more demanding, more rushful, more adrenaline rush, and something that matters more. The more you play Mortal Online, the less you can play a theme park game, because you're gonna very quickly notice, why am I even spending all these hours in this game when nothing matters? It's like there's nothing on stake, I don't feel the rush, and I just casually glide through like nothing. That can be nice and smooth for sure, but you know, there's such a unique gaming experience that I never got in any other games other than Ultima Online, a little bit Star Wars Galaxies, a little bit EVE Online, and Mortal Online. And that's what I think is the whole point with an online game, MMORPG game. And you know, the more features we add in the game, the more options and choices you can make of what kind of experience you want to have. If you hate PvP and crazy people killing and murdering, you can step away from that more and more and tap into other features. You know, eventually you will be able to just immerse yourself in a tavern, smoking the pipes, playing with VR, foiping, and playing games, table games, making monies, making reputations, giving tasks, just having a blast doing that. And you don't even have to walk out in the world if you don't want to. And you have high security in those taverns. So, and from that to becoming a pirate, sail the seas, explore the seas, and you know, discover a sunken continent, build your own ships with secret weapons and secret sails that you can enable when you really need to. There's gonna be so much offering in this game over the coming years that no other online game that I've heard of or seen or ever is gonna get close to that wide variation of what our players can choose to do in this game. Obviously, it's going to take time to reach all these features, right? But that's also the commitment, and that's what Mortal Online is. We're here to offer Mortal Online for many, many years. This is a, you know, marathon, not a short sprint. This is just the beginning. And obviously, the more that goes in, the more play styles and different personalities and people in the world we're going to attract. Well, Warcraft attracts one type, very casual and a huge audience, but we're going to offer more and more, including a lot of casual gaming experience eventually. So yeah, I wouldn't compare it with World of Warcraft either. It's a wrong comparison. It's like apples and oranges. And a cooking system fix. So I put Mats to go through that as soon as you have time. We know there are some flaws that we want to improve. I can't say when. He has some certain prioritized orders, but eventually we're gonna have an update on it. Word about bugs in this part of Thievery. They won't be discovered. I mean, the baseline of Thievery that works and we are gonna reuse is coming from Outline 1, and it's a 10-year-old feature that have been extremely polished and refined and tested. That core part we're gonna reuse. We're adding mechanics that kind of give the thief, you need to have tools to be a more efficient thief, So there's a cost risk involved. That is the big change, I would say. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if we notice, okay, shit, we found some major issues here in this feature, obviously we don't want to release it and rush it, or just if it has to be in the epic release. If we find something that this is a too big a risk, there's unforeseen issues, obviously we will look into adjusting the patches or timeline. So again, I want to make that clear that there are for sure room for changes if necessary. There will also be different types of session when it comes to balancing things. We are identifying underpowered areas, underpowered gear, weapons, tweaking that. That is also obviously part of some of the sprints. We just, again, haven't really put them on the map. There may be various different areas like that. So that's also something, again, we are, carefully collecting and trying to analyze and trying to make the right adjustments. We're looking at some adjustment to magery in general, mage balance, mounted magery balance, the tower shields, and yes, weapons that aren't used or feel underpowered, stuff like that. So that's also part of some of the work in some of the patches. Will we ever get different looking housing and stronghold? Yes, you will see a lot of different type of assets over time. There's a few different things, both biome affected ones and clade themed ones, and different options. So yeah, there will be more over time for sure. Gathering crates are underpowered. Yeah, that's also something we're looking into. Calculating the power behind the stats. We did a careful nudge on that not too long ago. We still have 3 updates of the human clades and possible further tweaks on missing stats due to stat powers. So that's also part of some of the balance. We're not looking to nerf or do major changes on clades. We're pretty happy with the baseline there, but we can see where some of them needs a small adjustment or a small buff to get up there a little bit. What's a combine tool? That is a very important tool in our game that will allow you to create your own campfires, for instance, put together clues and parts that will give you the whole solution map, items, artifacts. You pour liquid from a keg to vials. There's a lot of use for the combine tool, and you can create different things and put together different things. So you will see more and more stuff going into the world where you can use the combine tool. Yes, we have enchantment and enhancement. 2 different things. Enhancement we had in the first game, like when you refine, sharpening things, you enhance it. And then we have enchantment, which is the magical attributes that you can add into gear and components as well. So those will eventually come also. You will be able to dominate world bosses and trolls like in Mod 1. So you will be able to dominate some more powerful mobs and some bosses, yes, with certain tools. So that is the important balance factor. The first batch of getting Beast Mastery in place counts on the sprint 3 here with Beast Mastery. And that gives us the tools and abilities to expand on infinite amount of upcoming tools that can be used for certain creatures. So yeah, eventually you're gonna be able to do more of that. Love to see some dual shield wielding. Why would you run around with 2 shields? Doesn't make much sense. In a timeline when we planting, cultivating crops and stuff. So we have a start pack with the TC here in a sprint 5. So we're starting with the most important parts to start building your cities, expand, and have player conflicts and eras such as that. And then we have, you know, additional never-ending lists of suitable features and assets that you can incorporate in your cities in upcoming patches. So that will be most likely we see something in, you know, a few in every roadmap we add over the months. And yeah, growing your plants and breeding, stuff like that. We're refining some of those functions again in Modline 2 to make them more exciting and fun and balanced. And I can't say how much we get in the first batches and when the other ones being added. But yeah, they are planned for. Can solo players own towns or just guilds? I mean, I guess you can start trying to construct some things on your own, but it's meant to be a team effort, you know, you with your friends or even a guild or a large guild. So it promotes player interaction and teamwork that makes it more convenient, more fun, and to be able to handle all those different things. So that is the main idea behind it, that usually you are a group of players going together and trying to build your village and city or your grand city eventually. Please make keeps able to be cities, give perks to them to be open for anyone. Yes, for sure. We plan to support everything like that. So you should be able to be more profitable and successful if you have a well-run city, good protection, and keep a good reputation in that city and keep it open for business. And the more business and population, the more profit is possible to be earned. So yes, for sure. And then, of course, if you don't want anyone going into your city, you can close that all off. But then, obviously, you need to stand for all the, the work, labor to keep running it and pay salaries to the services that your city may offer. So, obviously, the more citizen and population, the better, easier it is to run it because it pays for itself. If it's a private city, then you need to fund that, obviously. Services won't work for free, including NPCs. They are like, any citizen. What kind of trade farm looking at for Sprint 1 to be implemented? We're actually looking to... Oops. What did I... Sprint 1 is around the corner already. We're entering testing. And then we plan to release it. So we're quite close already to deliver Sprint 1. What are human changes? I saw a post. What's the next patch? So we have the opportunities, I think it's called, for the humans that increases your nation bonuses when doing nation work. That's gonna be a much bigger important thing along with the nation patch, which is the epic release. So that's when it's gonna shine more. Today it doesn't as much, but we're debating if that's exciting enough. I mean, it is fitting and it's planned for the humans when me and Mats designed it way back, but a lot of people may be more interested in seeing something more, a different effect on it. We're looking, to see if we can add something that is more action type related also for that character builds. So it's still a little bit we're investigating there. And then of course we have the team cry, war cry team ability that we want to buff and add some functions on, so it's more useful to have a human team cry in the battle. And then we have the team damage reduction, that in the description it says it should reduce all team damage, but it doesn't work on some magic away stuff, which it should, which also gonna obviously make that quite much more powerful when fighting in madness. So yeah, those are the three gifts we are looking to tweak. And RP tools in planning. Yes, we have sitting features to sit in the taverns, table games in the taverns. We have smoking the pipes, VoIP systems. There's quite a lot. VR systems, quite a lot when it comes to RP elements. We just haven't nailed them down. So they're in the gray zone. We don't dare to put them on the roadmap until we have cleared some of that work. Yeah, Star Wars Galaxy had quite a few planets, a lot of empty space. Looked boring and bad, but of course, again, for a reason, to support a lot of player housing in the cities. And we also obviously had gone through the same thoughts when building Milan. We know that over time, obviously with a growing player population, more players, people want to build their houses and eventually cities possible. Then of course we need to have a lot of space for all that. So Milan gonna run out of space very quickly when it comes to building cities. And also because we do want to still have the some swamps, mountains, forests, stuff like that obviously shouldn't be removed to just put other buildings on. So we need space for that also. Yeah, maybe it's time for the giveaway. Wait 1 second, guys, before it's getting too late here. Let's go over to the giveaway then, guys. Exclamation mark M2. We will let that run, and then we will pull a giveaway. Please do not let Alvain, Ogmir, and Thor's Warcry stack. It will be very pro-surg. I mean, the team cry is supposed to be a team bonus, and all of them should have something interesting and can be important for the right circumstances. They have quite a cooldown and they have quite short duration because we don't want it to be the main factor of an outcome, but used in the right circumstances it should give you an advantage. And obviously the other side can adapt to that by also activating their countering or simply try to avoid the players while their enemies or have them active. So that is by design, obviously. Most things are individually, but there are one team cry that is with your crew, and that's how it's supposed to be. So I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to place the kegs in the houses as they're standing as a furniture, maybe. But you will be able to obviously carry that keg, put it in your bank, and it's like a huge container for your potion liquid. It will be able to store the same type of potion you create, and as long as you pour that in the keg. And then obviously you can sell those kegs or store them, and then you can very efficiently just pour that liquid into new vials, or even bring one of the small kegs out if you want to have a huge. Obviously they weigh quite a bit, so it's more for effective alchemist and potion making and business around that. When we adjust human mage clay, that gives them huge mana regen benefit over all other mages. The reset armor shield change basically make human mages the only viable ones because they are unaffected. I mean, right now they only increases the cap by a few kilograms, which means you can't tap into heavy armors. We actually got a huge request from a lot of players that they should be more supporting the cleric build that is, more heavier armor and still can get some mana regen. Obviously we don't plan to reduce that or nerf that. We're actually looking at the opposite in the possible change of one of the gifts that aren't used today. It was meant that mages or humans are very versatile, right? They can pretty much do anything pretty good, and you can change their builds very much. That's one of their strengths, right? And being able to have a little bit more armor weight and also still cast spells, humans can make good mages with again a lot of different options, but they may not make the best mages. I mean, that's just having a little bit heavier armor to get more regen isn't the key component to be the best mage. You can play Alvarines and Ogmius as a more strong, powerful mage, but obviously you have to adapt your gear accordingly to your style. And then other schools also again gonna affect differently when it comes to your weights, stuff like that. And there will be schools that are more powerful the lighter you are. Then obviously the human mage that goes for heavy armor with mage will be negatively affected by having the heavier gear than an Alvarin, for instance, using light gear for those kind of magic schools. So again, it's all according to design and following the proper design and roadmap. What's the timeline on this roadmap? We haven't gone public with any dates or specific timelines. You get the general idea of how frequent we patch already, so that kind of gives you a good indication. And you will see our next patch is already around the corner, around 2 weeks or something. So it's almost done already. We're going into the testing phase. So that's sprint 1 already. And then obviously when you see number 2, number 3 being delivered, you're gonna have a pretty good sense of what we're looking at. But again, we don't want to set the date to disappoint, or if we have to adjust something that is important for the game. Still waiting for throwable weapons, slings, crossbow, throwing stars, barber. Yeah, of course. There, you can add to that list 150 things that obviously we're all waiting for. That's all part of the Mortal Line. Like I said many times, Mortal Line will never be finished. Every year it will grow tremendously in terms of content and features, along with all kind of stuff. And again, even Barber and Tattoos won't be finished. There won't just be a patch saying, now Barber and Tattoo is finished, period. We will keep adding more and more tattoos, more and more hairstyles and beard styles, rare ones, unique ones, and common ones. Just like we're gonna keep on adding more creatures, more mounts, more armor, weapon types. Just gonna keep on growing every year, every year. And we're already producing an like 100 times more effective and faster than in Molten 1 due to obviously being a better, bigger team and having much better technology, better pipelines. So we're already greatly surpassing the first game and almost surpassing it now also in amount of features. Obviously we don't have Sarika, but Milan is already a few times larger than the continents in the first game. So, you know, and there's so much more detail as well. We have so many more biomes. So we're already surpassing the first game in various fields. And just in a few months, we're gonna surpass it in all fields. And that's like, you know, 12 years of development compared to 2 years. So quite a difference. Where wagons and dragons, you're gonna see. To make other races feel even worse, human hit all the stats points needed. I mean, it's interesting. Every streamer here complete the opposite of what people think about the clades. Like, you know, Alvarin is superior one, humans are crappy, please fix the humans. They are too underpowered, no one is using them. And now I'm hearing we need to nerf the humans, the other one feels worse. What's going on? I mean, it's so interesting how it goes completely opposite feedback every stream and also in the community Discord. Every day there's a new tone or where it's leaning towards this or that clade, and that just makes us happy because we know we are a very good baseline. We are in no hurry to ninja buff or nerf any major things when it comes to clades. They are very evenly played and they have very good, you know, balance, and people are enjoying them and play different clades happily. So yeah, I mean, humans doesn't excel best in one small thing. It's all about the versatility, which is the humans, and that's the design behind them, and that's exactly the feedback we're getting, that, you know, they're very versatile. That's why many that don't know really where to go are pretty happy with the humans, because they can go towards different styles and change them quite easily. While if you commit to the other clays, they may be a little bit more specific, so you really have to know what you're committing to there a little bit more perhaps. And yeah, you know, the community seems to be you know, seeing that picture and be happy that that is the balance we have on the clades. So like I said, we're quite happy with the baseline. Being able to run and not die is effing huge. The 4 killer armor increase is practically nothing compared to running away from every murderous group. Yeah, that's a common view on it. Speed is very important in the game. Then of course the Alvarins, that's their strength, right? And it's completely true. Any plans for a wipe? No. The only thing we are wiping is bad things and bad players. And that's what we are committed to do all the time and every time. We can't just wipe the game and think, you know, that fixes everything and from there on everything is golden days. We have to sadly spend a lot of development time, a lot of monitoring on keeping the game safe and make sure it's corrected every time something happens, and, you know, push away players that are not meant to be players and protect the game and the players. So a wipe isn't the solution, and it actually doesn't fix or change anything at this point. Namaste, Flane. I'm happy with the roadmaps you keep releasing and keeping us in the loop with the development. Thank you so much. I appreciate the hard work you put into these streams and your employees. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Alvarin. We watched Steam stream. We went over this with base master inclusion. Yeah, so tomorrow, usually the day after, we put all streams on our website. So you can see them on YouTube with timestamps. So you can actually go through it quickly and efficiently if you missed it, or if there's any specific topic or question you may want to revisit. So take a look on our YouTube channel. You will see all the streams recapped with timestamps. Guess I missed the roadmap. I can do this. Wait one moment. Like that. You can see the little roadmap here in the background. If you just tune in. I can't wait to get 8 cents strafed by a dragon while just out having a good time. Yeah, you don't wanna get a bad status standing towards a dragon. That's for sure. If they roost you, that may be an insta pop. And plans on craftable guild capes. So we're planning to add that along with the guild logo emblem system, which we're trying to get into in one of these upcoming patches. Like I said before, we just haven't confirmed if we can commit 100% to it. It's one of those maybe situations due to some of the new devs and so on. So, but hopefully, I really want the guild logo emblem system to be ready for TC, because it's gonna just be so awesome to see your banner on the walls, and you wanna wear the guild emblems and the guild colors and feel united, and easier identify your friends from foes, and just being united in fashion and color. Obviously that's a big cool thing and very helpful. So I really hope we can make that happen for TC. Like I said, we decided not to put it because it's still in the maybe, but there's still time to change that maybe to a yes. So I remain hopeful, but I don't want to commit by adding it right now. Universally, people think humans suck. Yeah, like I said, depending on the different groups and players, we get them as top clades pick to bottom clade pick, and exactly the same thing happens with the Alvarins and the Ogmirs and the Thursa, and that's what we want. We want people not to agree on how good or bad the different clades are, and see a huge variation of what people choose, because that tells us something, right? And that's something we're happy with as a baseline. It will never be perfect, but it's damn good at this point. Thursa are underpowered. The Thursa have been slowly getting stronger and stronger with some tweaks and buffs, and they're still superior in melee one-to-hand, on the ground when it comes to damage. And some of those gifts make them very deadly. And of course, they're champions in the arena. That's why you don't listen to players. I mean, we listen when it comes to all the feedback and data. I think that's important to gather all the information and take a close look. What is this pointing at? Is it completely opposing other feedbacks that we get in huge volumes, or is every single feedback pointing on one direction? That's when it's more clear for us to see, okay, here's something going on we need to look closer at when it comes to balance or underused, underperforming things. So that's what we try to do, and do it very carefully, so we don't go back and forth and upset current builds or such. The only thing we would do is make sure that if there's something underperforming and never used, we want to make sure it gets used or being optional. That's one of the main tasks. We're working on these mount stun mechanics, Henrik. We need them. Yes, we are. And we don't know exactly where it's gonna be timeline. But yes, we're all working on knockdown mechanics. It's very important for mounted overall, mounted balance and functions. But also new attacks, special moves that can knock people down on their butts. So yes. Human Warcry is awful. That one stands out. That is true. And the majority is pretty much on the same side, that Human Warcry isn't really exciting or useful. It's just, yeah, okay. And we have identified that. That's why I said before that we are looking to add a few mechanics on top of that one to make it a little bit more spicy. So when is the poll for the next magic school? So maybe when I decide to do the Elementalist focus stream that I'm planning to do sooner or later, maybe we can combine that with the next magic poll. Maybe that's a good timing to do that. Wrong. Clades are not balanced among races. Alchemy have 8 useless clades. No, it's not true. What I mean with that is also people pick the different clades for their stats and clades, right? And the combination of those. That doesn't mean that all of them are powerful and used. There can be some, like a few favorite ones that make them become the pick of that class. And we never meant all clade gifts to be, superior and 100% thing everyone pick, because they're not designed that way. You can always find different types for all the clades gifts, and that's by design. And I wouldn't say they're useless. I mean, there are clades that are not utilized due to various functions and content that are not in the game yet. And obviously, when that gets into the game, those gifts will get more use, obviously. So that's a thing. But since there are quite a few gifts, there are useful gifts that people pick now until they're waiting for possible change some of the gifts when more future content comes along with those. So we already put all the gifts that we plan for in these brackets for all the clays. It wouldn't make sense to remove them or replace them and then remove and replace them again when we add that content. So that's why we wanted to finish this clade window, and it's balanced and it's working great, and the community agrees by showing the data that confirms it. Humans are great paladins. The full Karite Kalas are not that good. I mean, at least free cleanse. Yeah. No, that's not the takeaway from my statement. I in no way said nerf humans. Humans are good. I'm saying that Alvins aren't inherently more powerful as a mage over humans, in particular because non-human get harder on mana rain. Avarin only get 5% chance to not use regions. Yeah, but like we discussed here, yeah, I don't meant that you mean nerfing humans either. Just that you meant the other ones are lacking, but I don't think the other ones are lacking. And like I said, you will see more and more the bigger picture, the more magic comes in that plays with by a little bit different rules every time. That means that yes, humans can play like paladins, cleric, whatever you name them, with heavier armor, and you will be able to use quite a lot of magic with that little boost. But it's also a very small boost, and it's not really a huge impact so far. And yeah, the Alvarins have the speed instead that can avoid a lot of dangers by just utilizing the speed. So it's almost impossible to compare them straight over. I would say that you can build the best possible mages by picking either Ogmirs, Alvarins, or humans. The Thursar doesn't really compete in strength there, even though there are some crazy builds popping out right now, doing shaman builds, they call it, which is interesting mage builds on Thursars. But yeah, I would say in common raw strength, Alvarins, Ogmirs, and humans can make the best ones. And the strongest ones are, coming from the high ints that are based on the schools right now that are based on high ints. So not just typically the humans, even though they get that cleric ability by intended design. So like I said, I think they are in a good position. You can't go wrong by picking any of those clays if you want to go heavy mage. Elementalism is next, then staff magic. I mean, we haven't officially voted on the school after elementalism, so just to make that a little bit more clear and maybe make it official, we could make a official poll in the community over a period of time where everyone can cast their votes, and we will see if that still seems to be staff magic as it was before when we did a small check into that. Sudan humans, 134 int obese mage that can jump. Yeah, they can make a pretty strong int school caster. Does Beastmaster unlock abilities on ritual pets? So those are a bit different. So obviously with Beastmaster and taming them, dominating, this is a creature with its own living soul and command. It can live on its own. But when you do ritual, it's actually magic that allow you to use a dead body and command it to behave that you command it, pretty much. So it wouldn't make sense that you need Beast Mastery to call out commands when you control it already magically, right? But if you have a living, breathing animal that listens to you and reacts to you in positive ways and negative ways, it has its own mind and will that you try to control by being his friend, by taming, or threatening him and forcing him to obey you with the more magic, some magic, and taking control in a more hostile way, I would say. So it makes more sense to allow you to magically control the dead bodies with magic in mind, rather than shouting commands as you would do with a pet you control. Yeah, it's time to do the mortal giveaway. If you just tune in, exclamation mark MO2, and I'm gonna pull it in 10 seconds, guys. There's the mana ray and buff that human has. So there's this, I don't remember the name, cleric gift that allows you to carry heavier armor weights before your mana penalty regen is affected. So you can carry a little bit heavier armor and remain in the same mana regen as the rest. So get a little bit more protection pretty much utilizing that one. The resting one is just when you're sitting down and resting. You get a little buff on your mana regen as well if you have that gift. The Shamantic gift. Will weather system be improved for elementalism? Lighting is oh yeah, oh my god, yes. The weather system is gonna add so much immersive atmosphere, feeling, and mood to the game that it's sick. And I hope to showcase a little bit of that soon in one of my upcoming streams as well. We are already looking into the mage, mountain mage, and magic in general now when we are heavily focused on elementalism to see what kind of tweaks we can do to improve it and balance it. All right, it's time for the giveaway, guys. Explanation mark M2. Last seconds. I'm way behind. I'm gonna scroll down, guys. I will be missing a lot of questions here. Sorry about that. By balance, you mean nerf magic? All right, GG. No, that's not what I'm meaning. Obviously, we have read and gone through all the data when it comes to people that just play mage running around on foot and on mount and all of that, and then of course we have those that gets hit and killed by them and what kind of feedback they give, and we tried to utilize all the information data to see how can we make magic feel great, be fun, be exciting, skillful, and as balanced as possible. We are lacking a lot of magic still. With elementalism, we're gonna have a crap ton of a lot of magic abilities in the game. So with that school, mage is gonna have their dream starting. Obviously, if you're only waiting for staff magic or any other specific school, then obviously it will take more time until those schools come in. But with elementalism, there will be so much options and cool things that mages will start to shine in a real depth. That they're even getting more options than the melee fighters. So we need to start cranking some melee options as well to kind of balance things out further again. Moonshine Lord Pen Rickard. I'm good. Indeed. I hope you're good as well. Thank you. All right. There will be a attack system when it comes to the TC control system, but in a bit different way that you're gonna see soon when we announce the detailed rules of TC. It's gonna be much improved from the first game. All right, I'm scrolling down again, guys. And now it's time for the giveaway. I'm way overdue here. Let's see. Where do I have it? Okay. It's time, guys. Good luck to everyone, and here goes. Let me... All right. Won't be reworked. It won't be reworked. It will have additional expansion throughout the upcoming patches as well. All right, here goes. Good luck. And the winner is... Congratulations, Leviathan 506. Congratulations. You got yourself a copy. Leviathan, are you in here? Reach out to me here in a DM and I will give you the code. Rigged. Always rigged. Oops, new account. Yeah, so like I said, there's quite a few things that are not mentioned on the roadmap, from minor things to a little bit bigger that we are a little bit unsure of time frame wise, and also due to some of the new developers that we haven't really secured a sprint. We see those as bonuses, and if we're lucky, we're gonna have those bonuses in some of our upcoming patches. That is wrong. You should reach out. Slasher said, come on, man, come on. I tried to help the person that win because you need to be active here to receive the key. If you went AFK or disappeared, I can't hand out the game copy. So, Leviathan, are you here? He's not here. Run again. No, we're gonna give it a moment, obviously. Any plans for pet stats? Yes. Throwable potion in the upcoming effects? No. Throwing abilities is a whole new state that we plan to add sooner or later on the roadmap. But that requires us a new state where you can throw anything, like throwing weapons, potions, etc. So along with the throwing state, you're gonna have a lot of options, from throwing weapon groups to, yes, potions. Can I have a copy too? I'm afraid not. We do quite frequent streams every week and giveaways, so that's your shot to getting a free copy. Leviathan. Leviathan. Leviathan, are you here? I've sent you a message. I don't see you typing in here. You gave a key to Buddha? Who's Buddha? I don't know any Buddha. Also, free cups available on Steam for $40. Not that much free though. Why is a giveaway on stream where most people have the game already? Is this to force others to get another copy so they are not left with only one character? Yeah, no, we actually hit new players also doing these giveaways. But yeah, obviously we have a lot of the players that have been playing a lot follow these streams, so obviously there's a good chance to get a second copy by doing this. But every now and then a new lurker gets lucky enough to get a copy and try the game as well that may not have been bought it if not. And one of them actually been playing and streaming since he won his copy and having a blast. And he was unsure and now he's hooked. So that's great to see. What about cartography? We don't have a time frame for cartography yet at this point either. One new player considering buying? Yeah, I know. Of course, we have quite a few lurkers in here every stream that are taking a peek and that haven't commit to the game yet or just want to see what's going on. That is quite common. And, you know, at any given time and any patches going live, that may also come in some that have been lurking for a while before they want to commit. A lot of things are still going into the game and a lot of polishing is happening. I'm waiting for Unreal 5, but I admire your work as a software dev. Slash is set. Yeah, I mean, there's, I would say, a huge portion is obviously waiting for that milestone. And like I said, we have a few thousand players that have been playing since beta, since release. And those thousands of players, there's a few thousand players that are taking a break and pretty much told us that see you with the TC patch. So there going to be, without a doubt, a lot of action going down in various ways, starting from the TC patch at a greater scale. And then, of course, during the Epic Gaming release along with Unreal 5, obviously we'll have a huge awareness as well. And that's also when we start major marketing. So obviously we're going to reach out to a few million players that could potentially enjoy Mortal Online. So obviously we need to prepare for anything and have a plan B ready as well. Been playing since beta, on and off, but won't stop playing anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, obviously we have a lot of people, so there's always been this confusion when people go to the Steam chart and see X amount of players online at that given time and think that's our player base. It's so skewed and misleading that it's not even funny. But understandable. I mean, how do you know what's going on the back end, right? It's impossible to know for any random players. But we have a huge player base at this point in time, and a lot of players go back and forth, in and out from the game every now and then. You know, even taking weeks of breaks, months of breaks, and waiting for specific patches. Some of them lurking, and that's just natural in this type of game also. So, and yeah, like I said, we already know we have certain groups of players, a few thousands, that are just waiting on some specific patches like the Sprint 5 and Unreal release. That's when they're gonna start playing for real again. And we have some big influencers, streamers, YouTubers that have said the same thing, like they're waiting to start streaming and play the game for real when we hit those milestones, because that's what I want to have when they're playing the game. Yeah. How long is in time approximately a sprint? We don't have the exact time frame, but you've seen so far how regularly we spawn patch, right? And obviously you're gonna have see the upcoming sprints now. the sprints are not very different from our regular patching schedule. We made sure that that fits as good as possible. And the sprint 1 is already slowly now entering the QA testing time. So we're getting quite close to already patch sprint 1. Patch burn rate is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, we try to find that sweet spot when if we build too much and too frequently, it takes a lot of time to coordinate the content, build a patch, test it, confirm everything. So it takes some time to do all that. And obviously, if it's too much content, too long sprints, there's a risk of losing some control and focus on the various fields. So we try to obviously find that sweet spot for our team, our developers, and the scale and everything. It's so specific for our pipeline, our tools, and our game. So try to find that sweet spot that works well for us. And obviously also want to make sure that it's interesting enough to keep following the progression without just waiting 1 year and then bam, a big expansion arrives. It's not the type of way of how we develop Modern Life. We want something frequently to happen every month and just improving and expanding. Will this be done within a year? Yeah, this is less than a year's time frame. That I can say for sure. I mean, you will see what we're looking at time frame. Like I said, around 2 weeks. We're getting close to sprint 1, and then you can keep track of approximately how we deliver the rest of the sprints. Do testers on the NDA or are devs doing their own playtest? We have hired a company, a professional Q&A tester company that does nothing but test for our everyday. We have frequently tests servers running with this company, and there's like a big hierarchy and structure of how the testing phase. So that's a huge thing that we have obviously put into place because we needed it. And yes, they are under NDA. They're no gamers or public people. It's a professional company that only test in Q&A or patches in game, and that's super effective. And it's such a huge difference. I mean, we tried a few different approaches over the past. We used the community to help us as much as possible testing things, but when it's not exciting and fun to test boring repetitive tasks, for instance, no one want to do that just to help and support us. We understand that, right? And obviously it's on our end and responsibility to make sure that we have a fair and fully tested patch, and that's on us, right? So that's why we hired this company and invest more resources in making sure we have proper testing and just going through that huge list of verifying everything from boring things to more exciting, fun things. MK Zeros is put in sprint 2. On action points for Elementalism. So, yeah, me and Mats were actually finalizing that part just recently. And there's 2 setups, and he gave me the last word. He's like, decide whatever that fits best. And one setup, we have 3 primary points, and the other scenario we have 4 primary points. So quite close to the other schools if we go by the 3. 4 is pushing it a little bit, but also I need to remember this is a huge school, and it offers a few different categories as well. So we're still, playing around a little bit with how we're gonna have that balance and offer that power to any elementalist. This game still have a subscription. Nuke, we never ever started the subscription, but we do plan to, yes, start the subscription when we reach the milestone and releasing on Epic Game platform on Unreal Engine 5, as you can see here on the roadmap. So we still need to deliver these patches to get in position where we want to be before enabling subscriptions. So for now, you can still play for free. 3 or 4 primaries. Holy, that's the only thing the mage could take. I mean, so if you look at ecumenical, necromancy, you can also choose between additional primaries there, depending on how far you want to reach in necromancy when it comes to ritual building to the spell casting. And like I said, this time you're getting a lot of tools and versatility, siege mechanics even, a lot of AoE options. Elementalism is a huge school, and not only direct damage, it gives all types of damage types, like I said, tools. So it gives a lot. So obviously we want to make sure that if we offer a lot more than the other schools, it makes sense that it costs a little bit more, right? We try to go through those scenarios. Realistically, we are waiting 1 year for TC. No, like I said, Greg, this is not a years of timeline. It doesn't take that many months per sprint, as you already noticed. We're patching quite frequently, and every patch is a sprint. By free, you mean box price? Yeah, you need to own the game. You need to buy the game. I mean, there's no subscription. You don't pay monthly. It's free monthly as long as you have bought the game or own the game. So that's not very good news. Play for free now and wait to get billed. No, I mean, you buy the game no matter what, now or when the subscription is activated. It's just that to continue play after the free month, when we enable the subscriptions, you need to keep a subscription online, just like any other service, World of Warcraft or Netflix or Spotify or anything like that, right? It's the same rules. But yeah, you need to own the game. So if you buy it now, there's no subscription every month. You play for free every month, and you can play, up to that point. When subscription gets enabled, then you will also have a free month on top of that. And after that, if you want to continue, that's when you need to have an active subscription. When people spend 300 points into magic school, yet only play one character with 12 schools of magic. So we never designed a game that one character can master 12 magic schools. That's like saying you should learn all crafting. It's the same logic, right? You have to pick or mix your magic skills on your character, just like you have to pick and mix your crafting skills or action skills. It's the same thing, right? You're never meant to be a 12 school mage. That's just unrealistic and wrong and unbalanced and bad for the game. And that's the cool part, when your group really, our group may be missing this school. We really need to recruit someone there, or someone need to, go deeper in that school because we need that. It could be anything. Or just obviously player preferences. I want to be the best elementalist schools in the world, or I want to seek the most rare school in the world. I want to devote my time into that. There's going to be so much magic. So a guild like Mana, for instance, they're going to have a paradise, because obviously they're going to have eventually over time at least 12 schools to play around with the master over time. And that's just going to be just epic. Imagine a whole guild trying to master all those schools together. While some of them are going to be hard and difficult and rare, you don't just go there and learn it. While they're going to be, majority is, yes, you can learn them and buy them. I expect people to try other things with only one account. You either mess up your only character or delete it entirely to try something new, or you buy another account. I mean, a normal thing when you're new is that you play around with different builds, different clades, and try to find what you like, right? And then usually you commit more. In Mortal 9, you don't play through 100 quests to grind your levels, and then you start grinding that all one more time to make your auto character. Here you can mix and match and go straight to whatever you want, bypass whatever you want, and it's quite quick and easy to build all action skills, more or less, while some of the crafting skills is more time consuming and heavy, but those you get those for free next to the action skill tree. That's why we designed it that way. So you can always change them on the go, and that's the design. That's why we made that system. So if you're not happy with being a sword fighters, you can change it at any time to anything else. You can even go from fighter to mage and back and forth or whatever you want. And of course, some of the clades give you more options and specified direction when it comes to this. So if you don't really know and you want to be more versatile, then, you know, human is a very good pick. You can be anything on a human pretty good. So there's a lot of options, and just with a little effort or research, this becomes a fact or knowledge to any new player that can play around with this. And it's part of the exploration. I'm not sure what I like the best. I'm going to play around. I'm going to have fun with doing this. I want to try this character now, and I want to do this. I want to change it around, or no, I'm not happy at all with humans. I want to try Alvarines. I hear they have good speed bonuses, and I love speed. It fits my playstyle. So it's part of the enjoyment also, when it comes to trying to make your build and find what you enjoy. Mine, yeah, I responded to that question before that. We went through a few cases, and we can actually make the weather system in our current engine and have the same support for Unreal 5, so it wouldn't be the twice amount of the work, which we first thought. So we actually have a solution to that. That's why the weather system can come along with Elementalism when it's finished and can be finished, which is in Sprint 4. So instead of having that forced in the Epic release, it also adds a lot of feature. We want to make sure we separate some of the big things. I don't think Henrik actually plays the game. I do actually. I have a few thousand hours in the game, and I play around with many different builds, all the clades every now and then, and I have pretty good overview of everything, and I enjoy starting a new character, play around with that. And like I said, I gone over from old clades. I keep rotating the cycle. It's also a good thing to keep, you know, up to date and play them around and see how they feel. Obviously, I can't spend as much as time as many of you guys and be a dedicated player in a guild and participate in those daily activities or PvP fights, etc. Obviously, there's a difference, right? And I need to focus on working on the game, which takes most of my time. But yeah, I cycle through the clades every now and then in Mortal Online, and I had a blast. There was one period when I was regularly playing with a few of my real-life friends, and we were complementing each other's, playstyle-wise, and it was a blast. We thought it was super fun. All of us enjoyed it very much. And then, sadly, I've had too much work again that prevented some of that time, so some of my friends had to play without me, and I've been asking, when are you jumping in? We are waiting for you, and I wish sometime I had more hours when I'm free to be able to spend more of that time in the game, but I think you benefit from me working more on the game rather than not. But yeah, I play the game as much as I can, even though I would like to be able to spend more time. In the Combat Beta, I spent quite a lot more time, and we had almost daily fights, and I really loved it. I'm missing it a lot also when we went to the bridge at Fabernum and just had group fights non-stop. It was super fun. I missed that time, and I hope that I will soon be able to spend more of that time in game as well. Yeah, I saw that fake account. That doesn't fool me. So don't do that. Don't do that. And if Elementalist has 4 primers, does that mean it's 4 magic school based on each element? So like I said, we haven't decided if it's 4 yet. You know, I see that obviously when we add so many primaries to unlock a full field, obviously it restricts more options, right? I fully see that. So we're still not sure if it's going to be 4. It may actually be 3 skills only, and we're done with that. But there are natural groups that make sense for it to be 4, but we could simplify it one step, or just simply make one of those groups a secondary to make it a little bit cheaper to invest in on your character. And we could go through that. You know, like I said, I can make a stream that are more focused on elementalism, and you will see what I'm talking about, that you're going to get a lot when it comes to elementalism. Yeah, we are on the last point. Yeah, don't try to cheat a giveaway by making a fake account and trying to make an O instead of a 0, because we don't like that. You know, you're risking a lot if you try to pull crap. Don't do shit. 5 hours is planned for TC. There's going to be a lot of sieging involved, obviously. That will allow you to use 5 hours also. And then plans on race change. So, yeah, obviously that touches the topic response that I wasn't fully finished with when it comes to, yes, I do replay characters, and yes, we do see when a lot of people want to try new things that it may become tiresome at some time if you feel that you need to repeat the work of a lot of that. And me and Matt had a discussion that if we should be able to support a clay change in a very certain way without just, you know, jumping back and forth. Obviously, we don't want that kind of thing in our game. It would be bad for many reasons. But we can see that there are a suitable, correct ritual way of making that happen in a controlled way, and give that as a possible option. We discussed it, and Matt thought it fits in the lore game world and from that point of view. And of course, we need to look into the balance point of view. And but yeah, he says that from that point of view, it can be supported. There's no issues there. And then of course, there's some other, the technical solution and the balance solution that also needs to be cleared if that's something we want to commit to. But there's a possibility, and like I said also many times, we have the old Diva system that actually may allow a second character that is bound to the same nation and reputation as your other character, and therefore have additional options again. So I wanted to commit or add to that response when it comes to what kind of options do I have when playing around. So like I said, that we need more time to go through that after this roadmap before that could be a possibility. With pets being more formidable in PvP situation, they die super fast. Yeah, so as you can see here on the roadmap, there's a lot of candy for pet users, but there's also a very important factor. We don't just want to add powerful pets with a lot of hit points and damage, and you control them the same way, just saying attack and then stay away. So with Beastmaster, we're adding more of the important key components to unlock player skills and situational opportunities to then make use of your pet in a more powerful way. So that's the key. If you just say attack and run away, your pet will perform poorly and die quickly. But if you engage, give it commands and play better with it, it will perform better and do more damage or special ability attacks, similar to player attacks that are coming soon also. And we're also adding the first sets of armors that you can put on all your pets that will also give them more defense. So yeah, that's a big thing that's coming in. And there's multiple steps in this roadmap that contributes to giving a better experience and balance in pets, in PvP and PvE, and player skills. Yeah, we're looking into the pet leveling as well. Obviously, we have the breeding and trainer that are planned for TC also. We're not sure how much of that we're gonna be able to incorporate in the first batch, but it's something we're looking into as well. Are these commands vocal and have an area range of line of sight within a specific range? Yeah, we don't have the recorded vocal commands for all clades and genders at this point. That would obviously be cool and great. So it's more like classic, like in most other games. You give it a command, which obviously are mimicking hand movements and a vocal command. But yes, there's a range involved with this, and also depending how you aim and perform when giving these commands. If you fail on these steps, the pet may be confused or even upset and mad, which obviously backfire and make the pet revolt, or even, the opposite of what you want as a pet owner. So this is where it becomes very important for you as a Beastmaster to play with player skills and do the right things to not risk messing up your pet's behavior and mood. Because if that happens, obviously it's going to be a sitting duck, or even run away a little bit, or even be mad at you if you are confusing it. So that's part of the balance when it comes to tapping into powerful pets and cool abilities, but you can also be punished if you do it poorly. Or you can just, call it to be passively attacking and be quite crappy, but obviously that's not the efficient way to be a good Beastmaster. Holy cow, we're already hitting the 3-hour mark, guys. Time flies, and it was extra fast today, I think. It's been a exciting day to finally reveal a roadmap that also gives a response on many of the repeating questions when it comes to when is this and that coming, where does it fit on the roadmap. So we're gonna post this obviously also on the website after this stream, so anyone that is tuning in or going into the website gonna see the updated roadmap finally. And yeah, we already have sprint 1 entering some of the testing phases, so we're getting closer to deliver that one. It's not that long until we deliver sprint 1 already. Can you explain command tool? So I mentioned that also earlier when we went through. I went through all of the points on the roadmap and explain them a little bit. And we're gonna make a YouTube of this video, put it on YouTube, and gonna be a timestamp. So you're gonna be able to see when I go through every single thing on the roadmap in a little bit more detail. So rather than repeating myself for everyone, it's a really good thing to check that recap timeline YouTube video that we release the day after the streams. That's a good way to go through efficiently if you have missed anything. But it's actually adding a lot of value in the game in different ways. So it's, for instance, it gives the kegs almost for free. So we get kegs, for instance, because of the combine tool. You can create campfires, stuff like that. So, and there will be a lot more over time as well that utilizes this function. Can you talk at all about your current plans for TC will work in Modern 2? I assume we'll be able to hire NPCs like guards like Modern 1. I heard there won't be palaces and towers. How will mechanics for this work? Yeah, I mean, it's a huge topic with TC, right? And I do plan to cover that more in depth and details. We have covered the main design and all of that. And, you know, there's several areas that are being worked on when it comes to TC and sieging. We're upgrading everything from the first game. So I think that we can dig quite deep in that system in one dedicated stream where we can go through that, how it's going to work when it comes to constructing and your influenced area, taxes, and sieges and all that. It's a huge topic. So, but yeah, we learned a lot from the first game. So there's a lot of things we're going to upgrade and improve and rewrite. And then there's a few things that obviously we're going to keep. But there's a few big components that we're going to heavily improve. And we also really like it because it promotes the game in a specific way and also not going to be too hard on the, you know, when you lose the war, you have some options to get back in going rather than just get a huge hit and then quit for a few months and then go back to the game. We want to avoid that, right? And we all want to obviously have competition and players in the game to have more fun. So we're trying to make a nice upgrade on that whole system to just promote fun, exciting, from small, quick skirmishes to long-term wars if you're really trying to go far with it. So I think we can fit a whole stream dedicated to boring. Yeah, you're quite boring too, Kelly. I think we can fit a whole dedicated stream to TC and sieging. And like I said, we may also make a dedicated stream on Elementalism. It's a big school with a lot of new updates and improvements. So yeah. All right, guys. It's been a blast as always to hang out and chill with you guys. And I think this is the cue for me. Yeah. So let's see. Shall we perhaps do a little raid? Who do we got online today? Got a few different streamers. Do you have any suggestions that we wanna raid? Have a good night, Henrik. Have a good night, Nactic. Thanks for tuning in. Sleep well at night. Thank you, Panda. Right, the censored lord. Yeah, we can do that, I guess. Thanks, Henrik. Thank you, Lorax. So good. All right, censored lord. Let's do it then. But yeah, again, as usual, thank you very much for tuning in. It means a lot for me and the team to see your interest and engagement, obviously, and we try to make these streams as interesting as possible and be able to continue doing them and improve them. And obviously your influence and questions or whatever you may be interested in, we try to take notes and see if we can support and cover that in upcoming streams. Just bought more than 2 from here at work, have it remote installing. The killer. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that, and I hope you will enjoy the game. Thanks, I appreciate the roadmap. Raid Asmongold. Asmongold, isn't he playing World of Warcraft? I will try to invite him back when we do the epic release, and it will be a little bit more noob friendly, if you know what I mean. WoW noob friendly, because obviously there's a huge audience to tap into. If we just get their interest, there's a good chance that they will enjoy Mortal 9. It's just that they're a step too far away initially, So yeah. All right, let's see. We got. I don't see the Central Lord. Is he streaming? Did I? Asman didn't have a clue what he was doing in Mortal 2. No, I mean, he said it himself. He don't like first-person games. That's a big issue, obviously, looking at Mortal 9. And I was surprised, though, that he had crappy frames. I thought he had a killer PC, being a huge streamer and gamer. But he were underperforming. But that's another topic, obviously. But yeah, he thought there was some really cool depth stuff. He was blown away about the crafting system. But yeah, first person wasn't his cup of tea. So obviously that's a big one. And it was more in a rough state also, I would say, than now. All right, let me take a look again now here. So who do we have streaming? Yeah, I don't see any Jonah Vale. I don't see them. I'm talking about someone that are streaming Mortal 9, right? I think it makes more sense to help our streamers showing the game off when playing Mortal 9. So I'm looking to stream someone streaming Mortal 9. Okay, I see this Central Lord streaming now. Actually, I looked at the name wrong. So the Central Lord, is that your vote, guys? Bring back the old streamers. We will, and we hope they will return with our invitation when we hit Epic Game release. We're gonna pay them back. We're gonna give them awesome drops. Promote all our streamers when we hit that. We're gonna hit the marketing. So hopefully a lot of them will be back, and we're gonna have a lot new streamers, big and small, and we hope them all will enjoy the content and make awareness. All right, the Sensor Lord it is then. Let's go. Okay, guys. Again, thank you very much for the donation, subscription, and your support and your awesome questions. We really appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you soon again. And have a wonderful evening and good night, and I will see you soon. And here goes then a little stream arrayed to the Censored Lord. All right, have a good night. Bye bye.